raise you up, I'm talking about banging some. Chill off in your crib and act a thing, how they make us nigga some. Love you like my father did.
What's up, guys? Ace Enigma here. In keeping with our Christmas traditions going, we're gonna check out some more Christmas stuff, but instead of fails this time, we'll be checking out some scary Christmas stories. So I picked two out from two different channels. I've never heard of either of these channels, so I don't know if they're gonna be good. So I hope they are good, because our Halloween one was honestly really disappointing. But we'll see what's up. So this one's from Christmas 1996, and I picked this one just because of the year, because at 96 I was maybe like 5 or 6 years old. Pokemon cards for the thing, Nintendo 64 just came out. It was a good time to be a kid. So let's see what's up. I imagine this guy's probably around the same age as me. We'll see.
I was up early. I bounced out of bed and made my way down the hall towards our living room at the front of the house. I slowly peered in to see if Santa had bothered to pay us a visit.
I really like
With
the music.
all that had been going on over the past few weeks,
Little
I
Boba
was
Fett.
certain that he wouldn't. However, a euphoric sense of excitement and happiness washed over me as I took in the gorgeous Christmas tree and all of its glistening bounty below.
I like this
I
guy's
called out
voice.
to my mother, "He came! He came! Can we open them? Mum, wake up!" A murmur, followed by the crash of a lamp falling off a bedside table, was shortly followed by the shuffling of slippered feet along our old, hardwood floor. Hunched over, she entered the living room along with the stench of whiskey and cigarettes from the night before.
Damn.
My dad had up and left her for another woman not long ago, and for her to be up this early was nothing short of a Christmas miracle. She had slumped into a deep depression, brought on by the shock of my dad's sudden departure, and then compounded by the loneliness, worthlessness, and guilt she must have been feeling from neglecting me.
Damn.
Looking back now, that time of my life had really helped me become more independent. It made me stronger. I had to feed myself, bathe myself, and take myself off to school. Hell, no one else was going to do it for me. It was horrible to see her this way. However, the 7-year-old me couldn't contain my excitement, and I badgered her relentlessly by asking, "Can I open them? Can I? Can I?" Until she was able to get the words out through the pain of her splitting headache. "Yes, yes, hurry up," she said. "Open them." "Great," I shouted, and began to tear into the wrapping paper like a rabid dog tearing into the flesh of its freshly caught prey.
This guy is
A Nintendo 64.
Oh, look at that.
Game Boy Pocket, Goosebumps books, Lego. I had really hit the jackpot. I was so happy.
Goosebumps.
I looked up at my mum and said, "Thanks, Mum. I love you." "Don't thank me," she said. "Thanks, Santa." I smiled. "Thanks, Santa." She smiled back. Then, without thinking, I said, "I wish Dad could be here." I shouldn't have said it, but I was all too caught up in the moment.
Yeah.
My mother's face turned, her icy stare filling me with regret for having ruined the good mood. Damn.
Man, the music
Why
gets
did I have
dark.
to say that? The awful and awkward silence was broken when she said in a cold, crackled whisper, "There's one more there. Aren't you going to open it?" I smiled an uncomfortable smile back at her. "Yes, of course," I replied, trying so hard to get that warm, excited feeling back that had filled the room just minutes ago. I dragged over the last box. It was heavy. I didn't tear into it like the previous few. I didn't have the same enthusiasm. Plus, I wanted to savor the moment. Who knows when I would be getting presents like this again? My mother stared intently at me as I peeled away the wrapping, opened the cardboard box, and peered at the contents within. I froze. I can still see the image so clearly in my mind to this day. And to this day, nothing has made me feel more sick to my stomach, more shattered, more incredibly disappointed and devastated. "What is it, Ryan?" she probed. "What's wrong? Isn't it what you wanted?" My father's head
Yo, what the
lifelessly stared at me, and I stared back, into his eyes, his dead eyes. "It's exactly what I wanted," I replied, sobbing as I did so. "Good.
Was not expecting
Now
that.
dry your eyes," my mother croaked. "I want you to meet someone." Out of the shadows, a huge figure came into the room and put his hand on her shoulder. "This is Chris. He's going to be staying with us for a while. Now don't be rude. Say hello." I've never felt more alone and helpless than I did right at that moment.
What the fuck?
All I could do was say, "Hello."
What?
Let me tell you a tale of young Ben, if I might. Blissfully unaware he'd been hacked in the night. His passwords were stolen, his identity too. Don't think for a second this can't happen to you.
Okay. Okay, but this is just I'm stopping here. This is just a Norton VPN thing. I was not expecting that. Jesus Christ. I got dark real quick. That was a good. If that's true, holy shit. I mean, I would think that it's probably not, but regardless, what the fuck. All right, guys. Next one's got a little bit to live up to. Jesus Christ. That caught me off guard, to be honest. Okay, so this one's just called A Creepy Christmas Time Story. It's about 5 minutes also, I think. Alright, so hold on, give me a second and we'll get into it. I really like the articulation, the way that the other guy spoke.
It was November of 2006. I was a 16-year-old kid living in the town of Altoona, Iowa.
2006.
I went to bed early one night because I had to work the early shift at McDonald's. As I slept, I had a dream that I was running through downtown Des Moines,
15, I think.
but I wasn't on a jog. I was running from something. As I ran around the corner of a building, I came face to face with my pursuer. A tall man wearing a trench coat and a top hat stood in front of me. The only thing visible of his face was his eyes. They were abnormally large with black pupils, and it looked at me as if it wanted something. After what felt like hours, he reached out his bony hand, as if he wanted me to go with him. I woke up violently from my dream, and after catching my breath, I peered around my room to see if I was safe. As I stood up from my bed, I noticed that I could see my breath. Feeling confused, I checked my window. It was latched shut. I then walked over and checked my vent. I could still feel warm air coming from it.
Ooh,
As I sat back down on my bed, I tried to figure out what exactly was going on. That's when the figure from my dream appeared at the foot of my bed.
Oh shit.
I scrambled back to my headboard.
What do you want?
I asked, trying to hide the shakiness in my voice. With the same bony finger, it pointed at me. Growing up in a religious home, I believed what I was looking at was a demon. I told the creature to leave. It just waved its finger at me, and with a low voice, it spoke to me.
Never leave. Always here.
The creature then screamed loudly and disappeared. A feeling of nausea came over me, and I vomited on my floor. The last thing I remember was cleaning myself up and waking up to my alarm.
That's intense.
It's been about a month since I had seen the top hat wearing man in my bedroom. The Christmas season was in full effect. My parents weren't home because they got invited to some kind of event, so it was only me and my 3 sisters at home. I had to wake up early in the morning for work, so I decided to go to sleep. I rested my head on my pillow and closed my eyes. Not even 30 seconds passed until my sisters burst into my room and started singing obnoxious songs. This of course made me very angry, but I thought if I ignored them that they would leave me alone. This was not the case. As I pulled the blankets over my head, I started to feel the same cold feeling that I had in November. As the obnoxious singing subsided, I lowered the blanket below my eyes and saw the man standing in the corner of my room. In one swift motion, he charged towards me, and I blacked out.
Oh, that freaked me out.
When I finally came to, I found that my sisters had locked themselves inside the bathroom. As I knocked on the door, they told me to go away. I asked them what happened, and all they could say was Mom and Dad were on their way home. I looked down and saw that my hand was slightly bloody. Holes were in the bathroom door, and a broom was sticking out of the wall.
What the hell?
I then walked into the living room and found that there were knives stuck into the wall as
Holy
well.
shit.
The same wave of nausea passed over me, just like in November, and I threw up again. As I was cleaning up, my parents walked through the door. My father immediately walked over to me and gave me a good beating. Then he sent me to my room. I went to bed crying. Not from the beating. I was crying because of the confusion. I had no idea what was going on. The next morning, my sisters reluctantly sat next to me and told me what had happened. They said I got angry and chased them down and tried to hurt them. They said my eyes were red to the point where they thought I was bleeding from them.
Jesus.
They said I sounded like a different person. In 2011, that was the last time I saw the top hat wearing man. I just moved into a new apartment, and after a long, stressful day of unpacking, I took a shower and got ready for bed. As I started to drift off, I could feel that cold feeling again. I lifted my head and saw the man standing in front of me. The man's eyes were red now. With a low voice, just like on that November night, it looked at me and said,
Always here.
Never leave.
Yeah, always.
Always here.
Damn, that's creepy. So I guess basically that's his like his subconscious or split personality, I guess. That's pretty crazy. Damn, man, knives in the walls. Shit, man, imagine if he actually would have killed one of his sisters in a fit of rage, not even knowing what he was doing. That's intense. That could have gone so much worse. Doesn't really compare to having your dad's head in a box, but still creepy regardless. So let me know what you guys think of the stories and whatever else you want me to react to. Don't forget to like and share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I'll see you in the next one. Deuces, guys.